Bartenders of Reddit, what is the smoothest pickup line you've ever heard? Homeless man who'd wander in on occasion. Hey miss, could you spare a couple quarters? So I can call you later? Ducking nuclear bomb right here. Literally drowning in wussy. Dated a homeless chick for a while, but broke it off when she wanted me to move out with her. Edit, if only I could use this karma to pay my rent. I might have to reconsider this relationship. I work in a bar. This is the opposite of a smooth pickup line, but it still worked. I overheard a guy mess up asking a girl out once by asking her if she wanted to go eat a movie sometime. Her response was, sure. I always watch what I eat. I laughed and there was merriment and a good time was had by all. Props to that girl for the top-notch response. I'm a bartender. I met my husband at work. He was a patron. The night of our first date, he said, do you wanna come over and watch half a movie? I asked S girl if she wanted to watch Back to the Future with me. She said no. I said what about Back to the Future 2? And we went back to my place. A regular would start a conversation with a girl, wait for the second laugh out of her, and then drop the magic. When I text you good night later, what phone number should I use? Cue the third laugh and him getting her number. Every time. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I was a bartender in a college town. The best one I heard was when a guy approached a girl at the bar. Guy, hey, looks like you dropped something. Girl, really? What? Guy, your standards. Hi, I'm Mike. Girl laughed so hard she spilled her drink, and he bought her a new one. Me, hey, looks like you dropped something. Girl, looks around. No, I didn't. Me, I'm your standards. Exclamation mark. Girl, what? Me, sire. God please no. My first month of bartending I had a girl quickly finish 2 Cosmos. I came up and asked her how she was doing. I'd have another one, but you'd have to take me home. Her group of friends got a nice laugh when I blushed. Then you bought her another one? Question mark. Now he got gold on one of those when did you miss on an obvious advance by women Reddit threads instead? Ah, I love a happy ending. I saw 2 people hook up without even saying anything to each other. They were looking at each other from across the bar. He raised an eyebrow. She half smiled and nodded. They met in the middle, and it was on. They didn't even buy another drink. I know they did not know each other as the bloke is my cousin. Not a bartender but can relate. My buddy was visiting me at my college. The moment he walks in and gets to the bar, he takes a seat trying to order a drink and waits for me as I'm still getting my ID checked. 2 girls literally ambush him the second he sits down. All they say to him is you have really smooth skin. 1 minute later he's going back to my apartment with 2 babes. Become his apprentice and learn his ways. I saw a drinking guy sit next to a woman at the bar and say, you mind if I sit here and hit on you for a while? That's my go-to pickup line other than Taco Bell hot sauce sayings. Do you want the best sex of your life tonight? No? Then I'm the guy for you. Do you want the best sex of your life tonight? Hell yeah. Then okay, I guess that still works. I once saw a girl go up to a fellow in a goth club and ask him if he washed his clothes in Windex. He was supposed to say no, so she could say, that's weird, cause I sure can see myself in your pants. Trouble was, he was wearing patent leather pants, and excitedly answered yes, aren't they shiny? Her line was ruined, but they left together anyway. She cold vaulted it to an affirmative. No wonder I can see myself in your pants. To which he still would have been like, I know right, I see my reflection in my pants all the time. Way late to the party, but heard this one while closing down a couple weeks back. Come on, let's go back to my place. I'll make you a quesadilla. This girl had been swatting guys away like flies all night, but that one worked out. Girls like to eat food, of course. Hi, I'm so and so. This coupled with a friendly handshake is literally the only line I've ever witnessed work. The old talking normal to another human strategy. It's quite effective really. I'm not a bartender, but I saw this happen at a bar. I was sitting at a table with two of my friends, one girl, one guy. Some guy I have never seen before comes over, places 3 beers, one in front of each of us, and proceeds to start talking to my female friend. I assumed it was just one of her friends I had never met. It took me a solid 5 minutes to figure out this guy was a stranger, and then I was blown away with how smooth of a move that was. That guy is a legend. Hands the males beer. This should shut them up for a while. Bartended in college. Guy walked up to a girl at the bar, goes, "Hi, my name is Ben, and I'm going to buy you drinks until you find me attractive." Girl smiled and laughed, and he asked what she would like to drink. She looked him over. He was already very attractive, turned to me, and said, "In that case, I'll have a water." He definitely got it that night. The "Hi, I'm Ben" line seems to be working. Huh. A girl once bet that if she could fit an entire one of the cupcakes we sold in her mouth without using her hands, I would have to give it to her for free. She did and I did. I was so impressed, I got her a free drink too. 6 years later, we are still together eating cupcakes and shit. I bartend in a pub next to a college campus. I watched a guy say "That's interesting" or "Oh, man, that's crazy" for a full hour and a half before leaving with a girl way out of his league. Fake it till you make it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man, that's crazy. Not so much a pickup line, but I bartend at a big college bar, and when you wordlessly hand your friend a beer, when the bar is swamped, and he just got there, it makes him look that much cooler to whatever girl he's talking to. Got him, you are a bro. I work at a bar in Long Beach, New York, male. A female customer was giving me advice on how to hit on my bartender coworker, female, who is a very close friend of mine. She kept feeding me adorable things to say to my friend because she thought we looked cute together. I thanked her and took one step toward my friend, then turned back to her and repeated it all back. She took the bait and it landed me back at her place. I was a bartender for a little while. On my last day I was celebrating my last day with everyone, and the hottest girl at the bar that day said, "After your shift, wanna come over and celebrate?" Literally the only time that has happened to me in my life. I'm still riding on that high. You? Yes. Edit. Thank you for the gold, kind stranger. Nice, bro. I bet you played at least 2 rounds of Monopoly. Not while I was at work, but was on a late train once and watched a tipsy woman chat a guy into getting off at the next stop to go to a pub that had a jazz band on tonight. I know the pub she named, and I know full well there was no jazz band on that night. That lady was hot, and that guy was super lucky. Edit. A jazz band is not a thing, people. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't go see one if I heard about it. Edit 2. A jazz band is a thing in Star Wars. Please let my rest, nerds. Saw an extremely drunk girl hanging out at the bar once. By hang out I mean she was leaning against the bar just to barely stare up. That's when a drunk guy stumbles into her. I'd say that's when their eyes met and they discovered true love, but it's hard to say since they both had their eyes barely open and glossed over by slight alcohol poisoning. They both then grunted into each other's general directions and proceeded to make out or eat each other's faces off. Can't really tell. TL. Doctor, true love is real. Not myself, but my bartender relief. One night her friends come in with this guy and they get introduced, but not in the "hey, this is blah blah" and try to hook them up way. I guess they were just out with him. Anyways, they all closed down the bar, as her friends normally do, and they start to leave while she cleans up the bar. She sees he left his phone, so she runs out and gives it to him. Fast forward a few weeks and they come in, and same thing happens. Well, apparently he does it a 3rd time and she goes out and says something like, "Why do you keep forgetting your phone?" Exclamation mark. And he said something along the lines of, "Well, this is really the only alone time I get with you." A few dates and about a year later they're happily married. It's not a pickup line, but when I was working as a bartender I witnessed something pretty epic/hilarious. A good mate of mine was at the bar, and he's a pretty stingy guy, so he doesn't spend too much when out on the town. and usually doesn't get pissed drunk. So yeah, my mate's been at the bar all night, chatting to friends and other random patrons, and there is this total babe sitting on the other side of the bar from him that's been eyeing him all night. I have no idea if he's even aware of her or not. So she's been sitting there for ages, sort of waiting for something to happen, just sipping on her lolly drink. No dudes have bothered to approach her or anything so far. This keeps up for a bit, and then this buff scary looking guy comes to the bar, totally wasted, and asks me for a beer. He asks me quietly what the hot lady's been drinking, and tells me to get her another one. He pays up, and goes to the bathroom or someplace. I give the lady the drink, and tell her it's compliments of a gentleman admirer, lol, and she just looks straight at my mate. Being the total miser that he is, he just nods at her, and cracks a sly grin. She walks up to him, and they start chatting, and 2 minutes later they leave together. Meanwhile, the big guy comes back, and sees the lady missing, and promptly orders himself another drink, lol. Not a bartender, but hooked up with one once. It was closing time and she said, "If you don't work here, or banging the staff, time to leave." I leaned over and said, "I guess I'm staying," with the confidence only a recently divorced man could have. It worked, oddly enough. Actually her line worked on you, not the other way around. I'm not a bartender, but I witnessed this line this weekend, and I thought it was fantastic. After this girl had turned down some pretty good looking fellow, this other guy walks up to the bar, like he's going to order a drink and just casually says, "Man, he's definitely taller than me, so I sure hope I can make you laugh." Didn't watch the whole thing unfold, but they were still chatting when I left. Not a bartender, but was at a bar with 3 friends a few years ago, and one of the waitresses was deaf. We watched a guy go up to her, sign some stuff to her. She smiled and excitedly wrote something down, handed it to him and walked away. He walked by us, showed us the number, and said 4 years of sign language in high school finally paid off for once. Maybe I'm being a dummy, but wouldn't it be pretty difficult to be a deaf waitress? Do all the customers have to write their orders down on their phones or something? I would have thought the exact same thing, but if I remember right she was carrying a tray of stuff, and was following a coworker around. It worked somehow. A coworker tried to start a game of tic-tac-toe with a pretty girl by drawing an empty board on a napkin and handing her the pen. She just wrote down her phone number. That's adorable, but your username troubles me. Not a pickup line, but the smoothest thing I've seen from behind the mahogany. This guy was hitting on this girl at the end of the bar. She asked him, "You gonna bring me some roses?" And this man took 2 straws, a napkin, and a lighter, and I shit you not made a rose with it. You bet your ass she left with him. Kudos, sir. Like a drunk MacGyver. You better have a nice car. Frantically grabs more napkins. Bartender slash server here. Buzzed gentleman extends hand to slightly more buzzed woman and asks, "Will you hold this while I step outside?" They come back, after sharing a cigarette. Pay the tab, take a cab together to wherever. Pay the tab, take a cab. Together to wherever. Poem. Not a bartender, but I was sitting alone at a bar and heard a guy say this to the girl next to me. "You look like a night of disappointment and week of dodged phone calls." I didn't hear the rest of the conversation, but they left together. I'm a bartender. Met my girlfriend when she asked me for 2 shots of a tequila and a Basco based shot, and then said, "That one is for you." I still think she's very cool. Texas prairie fires. I've had this happen to me before. It's also really fun to buy them for random people at the bar and watch the look of horror on their faces after they take the shot. It's now my go-to if anyone asks me to make them a shot of my choice. I usually don't tell them what they are about to drink. The best bar people are sadists. They are the ones who will help you get seriously out of your skull. My sister does this with shots of water when someone tells her to surprise them. She'll give them a shot of water. "That's just water?" Exclamation mark. Surprise. Well, I'm a bartender, and so far we are closing up, but if you want another drink, I live upstairs has worked exactly 0% of the time. Edit. Thanks guys. Highest rated comment ever is about me not being able to get laid even though I have the perfect setup. Do you actually live upstairs? Because if not, that might be what's holding you back. There is totally a guy living upstairs confused by the number of horny drunk girls showing up at his door asking for a drink at 2 AM. I worked at a beach bar. I watched a young guy walk up to a smoking hot tanned female lifeguard and say, "Help, I can't breathe." She was legitimately concerned and asked him what was wrong. He said, "Looking at you takes my breath away." She was pissed for a second and began to laugh. They talked for a little, then exchanged numbers. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to my channel for more curated daily Reddit stories.